Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the GRC in a moment. First, disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links will be right there in the description box. So if you want to deep dive the subject on your own, you'll definitely be able to do so. Trigger warnings. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity. And when we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. So if you got a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching, parental supervision very much advised. Alright, where we left off, back to our public comments. So, this one says, "Hi, I am commenting to express my opinion that using electric shocks as an aversive is harmful to disabled people. I do not believe it benefits the disabled person at all. No, it doesn't, because then it doesn't address the real issue. If you don't actually address the real issue, it will continue to be an issue and cause the behavior you don't want. Basic Logic 101, try it sometime. Seriously. Rather, it allows the caretakers to exert limited control over often harmless behavior. This control is limited because many disabled people do not understand why it is happening. No, hon, it's far deeper than that. It's far deeper than that. There are some individuals there who understand exactly why these individuals are doing this to them. Okay? This is a deeper issue. There's a reason why fear is not a tool that is used commonly in regards to medicine, especially behavioral. That's because its impact is incredibly limited in and of itself. Using fear as a tool to modify behavior is a double-edged sword. You may get the controlled behavior that you want, but it's never long-lasting. It builds resentment and anger a lot of the time, which means it will actually be detrimental to your overall goal of changing the behavior and instead causing a person to become that much more aggressive. Or in regards to others who maybe react in a different way, an individual may be harming themselves because they are depressed. And doing something like this is going to exacerbate the problem, not actually address the problem. You see, what we gotta wrap our brains around here is the fact that the behaviors in and of themselves are not the problem. They are not the root cause in and of themselves. There is something that is triggering said behavior, and as long as it continues to go unaddressed, the more likely it will come back with a vengeance once the tool of fear can no longer be efficiently used to get the type of reactions out of people that you want. Okay? But yeah, fear as a tool to modify behavior is always a double-edged sword. You get immediate results, yes, but eventually you're going to build up resentment that's going to explode. And whichever way it explodes, it's not good. It is self-defeating and pointless. It is cruelty for cruelty's sake. Okay? There's a reason why torture is no longer used in regards to trying to get someone to confess to a crime. Okay? I think the use of electric shocks in this way is morally reprehensible. Causes pain, has very little effect. I am autistic myself and I'm afraid of being institutionalized in a similar way. At this point, considering what RFK Jr. has been saying, I'm scared of walking outside my goddamn door in a way that I have never been in my entire life. Thank you, government. It's not like I didn't already have paranoia issues. If anything, it justifies them. But anyways, let's go ahead and get on to the next comment here. All right, here we are. This one you can see is using the template. I think some of these we've actually read through previously, but we're going to do it again. All right, this one says, I am writing about docket FDA 2023 N3902. I want the FDA to pass a rule banning the use of electric shock devices for behavior modification. Disabled people should be treated humanely, and the electric shock device is a cruel form of punishment. Speak on it. Speak on it, my dude. Speak on it. All right, here we go. Thank you, Sarah. Short, sweet, directly to the point. Why is this even up for the debate? No, do not shock people. Simplest goddamn thing in the world. But Sarah, the reason why it's up for debate is because the individuals who are being shocked are disabled people. And unfortunately, we live in a world that, although we have gotten quite far with our rights, we still have a world that predominantly looks at us as second class citizens or perennial children. And I have not yet to see anything, at least very often, that's anywhere in between. At least when we're talking about people in power. So that has a lot to do with it. That, money, and greed. The oldie but goodie. Alright, we're gonna go through one more and we'll close out for this one. I said, famous last words. Another template one. Alright, we'll go back. We'll do another one. Alright, here we are. Alright, this one says, please ban shock devices for autistic people. I have autistic friends and relatives. Regardless of their ability level or how verbal they are people, not dogs. By the way, if you put something like this on a dog, you and me and you, we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to introduce you to the concrete parking lot outside. Not kidding. Also, acting out from autistic people is due to overstimulation. More overwhelming sensations isn't helping the root of the issue. Well, it could be several things. We can't simplify ourselves in a way to protect ourselves because there are a lot of reasons we may melt down. And it's not always overstimulation, at least not in a way that a neurotypical would understand it. And that's part of the reason I believe they get so confused. My meltdowns are almost always caused by something emotional, some kind of trigger, and it usually happens because of my post-traumatic stress disorder. Reliving one's past in high definition HD, 4K, I might add, tends to make one freak out. You know, just saying. But yeah, those meltdowns can be caused by a myriad of different things or everything all together or even a singular thing. It depends on what's going on at the time. Let's not oversimplify ourselves in the overarching theme of trying to advocate for ourselves to keep out of hellholes like this. It just, yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's not just sensory, it's not overstimulation, it could be a whole lot of things. The world is a very stressful, chaotic, batshit insane, over emotional, and knee jerk reactive giant ball of a mess out there. People like myself do not handle that very well. It's just a disaster waiting for eventually for one of us to explode. And there's always going to be that moment, although as we get older and better at noticing the signs, we can perhaps curb it a good majority of the time, but eventually I know deep down in my soul there will be another meltdown. It will probably be triggered by my PTSD because that is normal. Our triggers are all different because those of us who share this diagnosis are as different as our thumbprints. So just keep that in mind, alright? And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close out for this one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments, and please double check to make sure you can still receive notifications. We are still going to be continuing on with our HIPAA and Advanced Directive series, as well as down the rabbit hole in Medicaid, and I certainly don't want you to miss anything. I appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea absolutely do hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye, everyone.